Alright guys, here we go. UFC on Versus 1. The first one. And they've stacked the card, pretty much. It's pretty sweet. Great card. Pay-per-view quality, pretty much. So, let's get down to the picks. Jason Brilz against Eric Schafer. I think y'all know what I'm going to pick. Eric Schafer. Sub or TKO. First round. It's going to happen. I'm telling you. He's training his wrestling a lot with my friend Tony. Oh, by the way, my friend Tony actually going to be, I think he's going to be in the corner for Eric Schafer in this one. He was going for sure, going to be in the locker room, but he had to fill out some paperwork to be a cornerman, so I hope this makes TV, because then Tony will be on TV. Training a lot of his wrestling, cardio, and boxing for this one. Brilz is in some trouble. And Schafer's going to win this one handily, I think. He's a tough guy, but Schafer is going to win it. And it's going to be sub of the night, I think. Unless he TKOs him. Okay, here we go. Mike Pierce, Julio Paulino. Paulino is a guy that come down from Alaska Fighting Championship, and if you know, a lot of those guys up there that get like a lot of wins in a row, you know, and like, and then come to the UFC, it's like a whole different ball game. You know, they're like 10-0 or like 15-1, and they come in and just get smashed in the UFC. I'm not saying that's going to actually happen, because Paulino seems like a pretty decent fighter. He's got a win over KO over Terry Martin, which is not the easiest thing to do. Because Martin's got a good chin. But it's going to be like Alberto Crane, like Rob Yunt, who he actually has a win over. But Pierce, too good a wrestler, heavy hands. Pierce TKO, second round. If not, he'll grind out a decision. Brendan Schaub against Chase Gormley. This is one of those ones where I think the high altitude is going to... I think Schaub is the better fighter overall. I don't think Gormley's well-rounded enough to be in the UFC at this point. He's a pretty good wrestler, and that's essentially it. But Schaub trains all day in this, because he's from, I mean, that's where he trains, is Colorado. And Gormley gassed out on his way to the cage last fight. So I'm going to go with Brandon Schaub by sub or TKO in the second round after Gormley gasses by just trying to out-wrestle him. John Howard against Daniel Roberts. I'd like to pick Daniel Roberts because John Howard has looked decent in the UFC, but far from good with a bunch of split decisions. He was losing his last fight handily to Dennis Hallman before he got a miraculous KO. I'm going to pick John Howard by decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if Daniel Roberts pulled the upset. Darren Elkins against Duane Ludwig. This was supposed to be Spencer Fisher, Duane Ludwig, and I picked Spencer Fisher all day, every day for that one. Darren Elkins is a good grappler, but I don't know if he's good enough a grappler to take advantage of Duane's weakness, which is clearly the ground game. The last two fighters to beat him are Dan Miller and Lyle Fancy Pants Beerbaum, and both of those guys are outstanding grapplers. I don't know if I'd put Darren Elkins at that level because I haven't seen that much of him. So I'm going to go with Duane Ludwig by a TKO in the second round. Eliot Marshall against Vladimir Matyushenko. Going to be safe with this one. Vladdy. The only guys that Vladdy loses to are Little Nog. And Eliot Marshall's not Little Nog. So, Matyushenko decision. Shannon Gugerty against Clay Guida. Let me make something perfectly clear on this one. And I rarely talk about betting, but Clay Guida is something like a plus 900 on this one. And Clay Guida should never be that much of a favorite against anybody. And I'm going to be putting some on Gugerty. Not real, but fake. And I'm going to go with Clay Guida by decision. I'm not saying, you know, Clay Guida's just, he's going to lay on him the whole time. I mean, he's just going to take him down. And, you know, it might be another one where Clay Guida's cardio is so freaking good, and he's going to push the pace, and Gugerty's just going to tire out. Guida might finish this one, so maybe a TKO, but Clay Guida by decision. I'd like Gugerty to pull it off, though, for some money.